Warning, viewer discretion is advised. This game contains violence, blood, abuse, slightly stalking, and a deranged serial killer named Jeff the Killer. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello everybody, this is Tazitis, and welcome back to Jeff the Killer, Fear Me, a dating simulator and all. Now, you guys really liked the first one I played, and you really liked the second one, and also I decided to play a third one. This time, hopefully, we're going to get to a good ending and stuff and all, and be able to get to a good ending. So, I decided to play it again. So, we're going to just go ahead and get into it and all. Once again, this viewer discretion is advised. There's a bunch of violence and stuff and everything. So, unless you're at least 16 or plus, 18 or plus, everything, I highly recommend you don't watch this video and everything else. Also, I just want to let you guys know, my reading is atrocious. I'm not the best reader in the world. I'm sorry about that. But thank you guys so much, and I really appreciate you guys liking the last one, 2 videos the last time. So thank you, and so much. I really appreciate it. Also, at some point in time, my microphone might go off, but don't worry, I'll just take out the microphone and switch to the regular one, so don't worry about that. Hopefully, we're going to go through this whole thing, and hopefully, we're going to get a good ending. So let's just get started, okay? Easy mode is on. The room was silent, illuminated by the warm midday light fluttering through the window. You look anywhere but at your therapist. You didn't yet feel comfortable enough to speak freely. Attending these sessions feels like a chore, more than for your own good. It seemed like a way to keep an eye on you. You have no obligation to talk about him. The therapist watched you patiently, leaning calmly against the back of his armchair. You can talk about whatever you want. You scoffed, ironically, offering no reply. It has been 7 days. Enough time for someone to change, don't you think? Instinctively, you raised your hand to the left side of your face, where the patch covered your left eye. He hurt you. There's no doubt about that. The police, the hospital. Everybody has their version, but I want yours. You shrug. That's fine. Silence is an answer. You looked towards the window. Your reflection silhouette was visible in the glass. Even though you couldn't see yourself clearly, your posture, your expression were noticeably different from a week ago. Day 1. The start of your shift is like your life start button. You have a clear routine. Wake up, work, and sleep. You have no legacy, no ambition, no pending matters. You fulfilled your duties as a student and finished school. But you lack the motivation to pursue a dream or a goal beyond where you are now. You feel as though you don't have a starring role in this world because nothing special has happened to you. Yet. In fact, one could say you let apathy guide you. Apathy that numbs your strong emotions. A roller coaster? Pleasant. You trip, you fall face first. In public? Not the end of the world. Positive, negative, your emotional range is very low. Your emotional range is very low. Like a perfect blank canvas. Anyway, you try to make your life as comfortable as possible. As strange as it sounds, you work at a video store that only attracts nostalgic and cinephiles. You love movies, or movies are okay. Okay, in the first episode we did movies, we love movies, and the other ones we did movies are okay. I'm going to do we love movies because that seemed like a more positive outlook. The main reason you took this job is because you like it. You spend hours watching movies and never get bored. The place is colorful enough not to depress you. Just be in there. And if you're lucky, you might run into an interesting character or two. Of course, besides the characters that already exist. Catching up on lost time. For a moment you thought For a moment I thought you wouldn't come. Cindy, your coworker. She's not very good at her job, which is saying a lot since being an attendant at a time-lost store doesn't require much effort. But she's the store's owner. She's the owner's daughter. You're the only full-time employee, and you do well. You two don't get along great. Not terribly. You tolerate each other. Where's your badge? Instinctively, you reach for your neck, and indeed, your employee badge wasn't there. It's strange. I feel like I can't see your name without your badge. Cindy shrugged and retreated to the back of the room with the box full of movies. Somehow what she said made sense. It was as if you couldn't remember your own name unless it was written right in front of you. As if names only existed when spoken out loud by somebody else. Well, you remember taking it out of your things when you arrived, so it was most likely still in the store. Okay, so we know it's in aisle 2, so we'll just select aisle 2. You lean down and try to get a better look at the floor, hoping your badge was still around somewhere. You move down the small aisle, determined past shelves and packed with horror movies. Past shelves packed with horror movies and thriller movies. Until you spotted the unmistakable piece of plastic almost at the end of the aisle. You were reaching for your badge, but a white hand got there first and slowly picking up the plastic piece. You look up and find yourself facing a tall, hooded man with his face covered. He looked like a potential criminal or somebody with a bad cold. But you didn't have the energy to worry. You straightened up and stood face to face with him. The man seemed to ignore you, more interested in your badge in his hand. Is this yours? His voice, muffled by the fabric, was deep and slightly raspy. I can't do that. I'm trying my best. You nod silently, looking at the man suspiciously. By the way, he crooked his head. Prove it. Now you could finally visualize your name. Let's just go regular Taz this time. The man looked at your badge in silence, and for a moment you truly thought you must have had it wrong after all. But then he offered you the piece of plastic. All right, Taz. You took the badge in your hand and gave the guy a look. Mock him or thank him. I'm gonna sass him. Who are you, the badge police? The badge security? The man shrugged, unconcerned. I just wanted to make sure I gave it to the right person. I clearly work here. He chuckled. Yeah, but it could have belonged to someone else. It literally has my photo printed on it. The man waved it off dismissively. Would you have preferred I gave your badge to just any uniformed person who claimed it was theirs? His logic was strangely convincing. I guess not. The man crooked his head with a smirk. You couldn't see it through his bandana, but you knew he was smiling. See, I'm not so bad. The fact that he said that made you think the opposite. You suddenly put the badge around your neck while he still remained motionless in his spot. You slowly moved towards the counter. The guy stared at you as you moved, which only made your discomfort worse. You decide to ignore him, shifting your attention to one of the monitors next to you. You could if the hooded guy from before would stop, wandering around the store so suspiciously. You try your best to ignore him, but it was impossible not to notice him. Maybe he was doing it on purpose. Hey, Taz? At the sound of your name, you look up at Cindy, who had come around the counter to stand right next to you. Did you see that guy? He's been here for a long time. You looked at where she was suddenly pointing, and of course she was talking about the same guy. Yeah, I saw him. You shrug, a very logical reaction, right? Maybe he's deciding what to buy. He was probably just a weirdo you'd see once and no big deal. Anyway, Cindy, annoying as ever as she was, wasn't easily flustered. He's just some weirdo. We see those every day. But this one feels different. You started to believe Cindy had watched many movies, and then you started to remember she didn't like cinema and only worked in her dad's store. When I talked to him, he didn't seem dangerous. She turned to you, surprised. You talked to him? Did he say anything strange? No. Why is it C? I'm gonna say yes. +1. He asked for my name. Huh? Why? He picked at my badge, and I guess to verify it was mine? Cindy held her chin thoughtfully. It was a little strange, I guess. Cindy looked at you in silence for a few minutes and then sighed. If he makes you uncomfortable, I can ask him to leave. Why does it say my name? Cindy shook her head, glancing at the guy. You're probably right. I guess I'll leave you to it. I'm going to go check the inventory. Sure. You're settling into your designated chair, and before you could pretend to look at the receipts, Cindy spoke again. But if he does anything suspicious, just let me know, okay? You nod slightly. Cindy didn't wait for a verbal response. She just went back to her task. You kept your eyes fixated on the monitor at the moment, and out of the corner of your eye, you glanced at the aisles. The guy was still there, just standing. He was looking at the shelves that held nothing in particular interesting, and then he looked right at you. It wasn't a quick or distracted glance. It was direct. Look away, meet his gaze. Meet his gaze. You returned his gaze with the same intensity. You didn't know if you were doing it out of bravery, stubbornness, or simply curiosity. But he didn't blink. And then he made a slight gesture, almost impeccable nod of his head, as if he were greeting you. You decide to ignore him, turning your attention back to the monitor to remove a CD from the CD player. You put the CD back in its case and you look at your options. Okay, we're gonna go horror, even though I love the other options. +1. You enjoy the scares and the aroma that horror movies create. You were able to pick a movie until a sudden sound of somebody leaning on the counter in front of you distracted you. Again, the stranger was there, this time in front of you, looking intensely at the CD in your hand. What movie were you going to put on? Excuse me? I want to know what movie you're going to put on. Is that a crime? No, of course not, but... Oh, come on. I'm undecided. Maybe you could inspire me. You look at him in silence for a moment and then sigh with weariness. I'm going to put on Scream, because he likes Scream. +1. Oh, a classic slasher. Interesting. Well, did that help you decide? The guy cocked his head. Now you knew for sure it was his way of showing mockery. A little. Though what caught my attention the most was the genre you chose. You raised an eyebrow. Oh yeah? What about it? Horror. His tone dropped. Interesting choice. It always says something about a person who prefers it. Like what? That you're looking to feel something real. Or that you want to fear to have a face. Something you can understand, even if it means danger. His words were soft, but picked up like needles under your skin. Or maybe I like strong emotions about putting myself at risk like everybody else. But you're not like everybody else. And with that phrase seems to be, that phrase needs to be removed from a visual novel bingo card. He moved a little closer to the counter. He didn't invade your space, but it was as if he caressed it. You don't seem to be afraid. Should I be? Depends. Do you prefer to see horror from the outside, or to have it stare back at you? Go with it, ignore him. Go with it. Good. We're doing good so far. I guess it depends on how pretty the face of horror is. He tilted his head slightly, as if you had said something he didn't quite expect, but he didn't seem surprised either. Wow. Keep in mind that sometimes pretty things can bite too. He glanced at the shelves for a second, as if looking for something, but it was obvious he wasn't. Or maybe you like to be bitten. Who knows? He shrugged, as if downplayed in his own words. He extended a finger and drew a circle on the counter surface. He was pretending to think, ignoring you, but aware of your presence. For your mental sanity's sake, you need to hurry him up. Be subtle, be direct. Be direct. +1. Hey, buddy, could you hurry up? What's the rush? What's the rush? There ain't many other customers in here beside me. Do you even want to buy anything? The guy chuckled. Just indecisive. I'm not bothering anyone. You glanced back, searching for Cindy, just to feel some security that you weren't on your own. But unfortunately, you didn't see her anywhere. Then, without asking, he reached a hand over the counter. I'm Jeff, by the way. I think it's time we formally introduced ourselves, don't you, Taz? Your gaze dropped to his hand. Give him a high five. ... Dot, 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 dot. Dot, dot, dot. Jeff laughed loudly, drawing attention of the few remaining customers in the store. You couldn't help it. You laughed as well at your actions. Hey, don't exaggerate. They're watching us. Why? Why? Are you embarrassed for them to see you? It's not that. You're bothering the customers. Ah, right. I didn't take you for someone who easily get embarrassed. As someone who works in a store, you should convince customers to buy as much as possible. But something told you Jeff would take a sweet time. You watched him in silence for a few moments, observing him through his thoughtful posture. It was as if he was insistent on prolonged interaction. You were allowed to make him uncomfortable too, right? What's with them, bandana? What do you do for work? Are you single? Oh, should I ask, are you single? Oh, wait, I know what to do. I know what to do. Okay, save. There we go. No can return. Are you single? Jeff stumbles in place, turning his gaze to you. He remains silent for a few seconds, recovering from the internal surprise, and then tilted his head with a teasing touch. What if I'm not? Flirt, shrug. Oh, crap. I don't know which one to do. Let's shrug. Good for you if that's the case. You asked to ask, not because you were genuinely interested in him. His shoulders slumped, and you thought you heard a sigh from him. Crap, we did the wrong thing. Well, did you decide what to get? He refocused his attention on you. Wow, it seems like you really want to get rid of me. Asked nicely, answered sarcastically. Plus one. No, not at all. I love wasting my time with weirdos who walk in circles as if they're lost in supermarket. Jeff's eyes widened, bringing her in defense. Hey, that was mean. You're going to make me cry. He clenched his chest dramatically and chuckled again. This time his laugh was softer, more genuine. I don't know if this was funny. Don't know if this was funny because I talked to you or because I ruined your day. The statement came out unsettling frankness. You didn't know how to react, but you knew in the end Jeff had done things on purpose. Well, at least you admit you weren't exactly a delight. Sure, I'm not an idiot. I know what kind of reaction I get from people. Jeff shrugged, and then he tilted his head, questioning and mockingly. Do you treat all customers like this, or am I special? You couldn't help but let out a small laugh at his words. You know what? I don't usually spend so much energy on strangers, but you've earned it. Jeff straightened suddenly, pleased as if he had been told he achieved a great feat. I'll take it. For a moment you thought Jeff meant he appreciated your words, until he noticed his eyes were fixed on the movie you had chosen to put inside the player. Oh, great, you said with relief. Finally Jeff would take something, and it was something you knew he'd like. You felt good about doing your job well, after all. Thanks for shopping with us. Jeff nodded, taking the movie in his bag and headed to the exit. It was a pleasure, Taz. He waved you goodbye, and you reciprocated with your own hand. Though not as enthusiastically as his. Well, you managed to sell something to the weirdo at the end of the day. It was an accomplishment, after all. Your workday was over. All in all, it was quiet. Night had fallen, and there was no reason to worry since you lived a few blocks away. Some things were just convenient like that. This week was Cindy's turn to close up the shop. Since you almost had the same position of closing. Sorry guys, my microphone is flashing, so I'm a little worried about that. Sorry. Decided the same position of return. You had your things ready to go home. Are you okay? Sure, why wouldn't I be? That guy seems a bit fixated on you. You scoffed ironically. Come on me? Yeah, I don't get it either. Okay, ouch. But what if he follows you home? That's not going to happen. He left hours ago. There's no way he'd stay lurking around. I don't know. Your danger sensor isn't very accurate, I'd say. Danger is subjective. That's not true. Why do you care so much? I thought you hated me. Cindy, surprised by your words, averted her gaze, playing with the mop handle she had in her hands to clean before closing. I don't hate you. I just think being with you is boring. Yeah, well, you're not exactly the life of the party either. I didn't mean that in a bad way. Really, I feel peaceful with you. Oh, your disregard for everything is tiresome, but it is also comforting, in a way. You scratch your head, not knowing how to react to Cindy's words. She never said anything nice to you until now. She cleared her throat and looked away, embarrassed grimace. What I mean is, I don't want anything bad to happen to you. You took a step towards her and placed your hand on her shoulder, smiling calmly. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Just because something weird happened doesn't mean the universe has decided to turn against me. You share one final gesture before you go and close the door behind you. The stores indicated it was closed and you straightened, feeling the weight of adult life in a capitalist world lift a little bit off your shoulders. Just a little. It was part of the routine, saying goodbye to Cindy, finally getting to go home. You lived on your own since you started working, so you had no extra responsibilities to worry about, which gave you space to focus on your own needs. It wasn't an extraordinary life, but it was functional. Working during the day, earning money for rent, paying bills, resting on the weekend. Even though the street was fully lit, the aroma remained gloomy as you walked towards your apartment. It had always been like that. Nothing to fear, right? It was then that you felt your arm being pulled violently to one side. Maybe you should have been more alert. You were dragged into an alley beside the street. It was slightly darker, but a street lamp nearby allowed you to distinguish what was in front of you. Since the sudden action distorted you, you were slow to react. What the fuck? The sound of a slight blow to the side of your head interrupted you, and you realized the person had cornered you against the brick wall behind you. You glanced at the person's arm, a familiar white sleeve-covered arm reaching for your blind spot. You grew tired and suspense and finally looked up at the person who had cornered you. You had no idea who it might be. You had an idea who it might be. Well, Taz, we meet again. Uncertainty filled you at the sight of the white, scarred face. Jeff had removed his hood and bandana and revealing his face. His skin was varied in colors and textures, and his nose was sunken in. His milky blue eyes were deep set in dark circles, and you were certain he hadn't seen him blink once. What caught your attention the most was the scar that ran across his mouth. It didn't look like a clean cut. It was distorted in a way. It distorted his expression and sent shivers down your spine. You assumed his face would have an imperfection he'd want to hide to avoid stares from strangers, but considering the bizarre situation, it wasn't surprising. Jeff? Certainly you were at a disadvantage here because you tried to think of ways to turn the tables. Wow, who would have thought at night someone alone? Gloomy alley, a classic. Jeff chuckled at your sarcasm. You don't drop the act. You don't drop the act, huh? He pulled a knife. He pulled a knife from his hoodie. Now make sure to give me a good show. His voice was raspy, articulate, with an anxious tone. It seemed imperfection. A show? Fear is exquisite. Fear is exquisite. He whispered almost uncertainly, poetically, leaning towards you, his breath grazing your face. Hey, no offense, but your whole approach feels a little cliche. Very cliche. He tilted his head to one side, and you could have swore it was the equivalent of raising an eyebrow. If he had eyebrows. This isn't time for jokes, don't you think? This isn't the time for jokes, don't you think? Yeah, well, I don't really know what motivated you to attack me. I thought we were getting along. Press the width of his blade against your cheek, your cold metal against your warm flesh. Are you asking what makes you special? Is being special having you drag me into a dark alley? Wow, you must not be very popular. Jeff snorted in annoyance. He grabbed your shoulder with one hand that cornered you and slammed you against the wall behind you. You felt your head hit the rough texture of the surface, making you wince. Tease him. Harder. Jeff released you and stepped back a couple paces as if you burned him. His expression reflected surprise. It was a bigger reaction than you expected. Relax, I'm just kidding. That wasn't funny. It was to me. Shut up. It shouldn't be funny. You should be afraid. Jeff approached again, raising the knife to your neck. Okay, I want to save one more time, because I want to make sure I got this. Because this is where we screwed up the last time. Okay, let's return. Press raising it. Instinctively, you pull away from the blade, feeling the tip pierce your skin. You're in an alley at night. You're in an alley at night. With a knife at your throat. So I'll ask again. Are you afraid? I'm going to say yes. You live. Jeff hasn't made much of an impression on you. You were aware of your situation was dangerous, but it really couldn't matter less to you. But anyway, it seemed fun to see what would happen if you messed with him. For now, you decide to play along. You know what? Yes, I'm afraid. Jeff recovered his spirits and extended his wide smile. He lowered his knife, but kept it in his hands. He wasn't threatening you. Maybe he wanted to keep having fun with you. Good, 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 good. That's what I wanted to hear. Typical. Now, what scares you about me? Oh shit, really? I'm gonna have to save again. Save. Okay. Evidently, Jeff enjoyed seeing fear in his victims. For now, you managed to keep him happy enough to maintain a conversation with you. Maybe he wanted to dig deeper. Perhaps he liked knowing the details, what provoked in his victims. That's funny. Can you accept the challenge of indulging him? His voice, the fact that he was going to kill you, I don't know. I don't want to say his face is going to piss him off. I'm going to say, voice, if I say he's insane, he's going to piss me, he's going to get pissed. So I'm going to say, the fact that he wants to kill you, oh crap. This time I'm going to say his voice, but I think I might be the wrong decision. His voice. Nobody's ever said that before. You sound young. How old are you? Jeff was startled by the emotion. You think? He completely ignored your question. Maybe he was one of those who didn't like to say their age. This is more fun than I thought it would be. Anyway, why are you attacking me? Stared at you in silence for a few seconds and then smiled. Static. It smiled static. You felt like demanding. He blinked. I think killing you will be fun. Great. You had hoped he was just a simple thief going through the angsty teen phase and only wanted to scare you. It turns out he was a madman who genuinely intended to murder you. You hit the jackpot. I thought I had won your heart. Oh, that takes a lot more than just one day. That seems like useful information. For the future, you should focus on surviving now. I know. Let's play a game. Play what? A simple game of tag. Uh-oh. What happens if I win? I let you go. ... That's what you'd like me to say. He was an idiot. A very dangerous idiot. You had to choose carefully. Okay, let's save again. Okay, go to save this way. Okay, good. I want to be a spastic saver. I'm going to say I chase you. You live? Jeff stumbles over his words, not having expected that response. Straightened up over you, analyzing you in silence. His face was strangely expressionless. You assumed because was his mouth mangled as it was, he was condemned to have the same expression permanently. Suddenly, you felt like your neck squeezed tightly, making it hard to breathe. Instinctively, you raised your hands and pulled at Jeff's arm, impulse from your body to try and fight. Fear me. Fear me. The compliment was almost childish, despite coming from a threatening man. You tried to respond anything, but your vocal cords were being squeezed too tightly. You managed to hear the murmur before you felt the pressure off your neck release. His hand remained at your neck, but only pressing enough to immobilize you. You coughed and gasped for air, trying to recover your breath. But then you realized Jeff was again almost on top of you, knife in hand. You felt a ping of pain in your cheek, but it was almost an instant. Jeff made a clean cut to the side of your cheek, and you felt the tickle of a thin line of blood coming down your throat, your jaw. Why ain't you afraid? Why ain't you afraid? Jeff examined you in silence, as if looking at your reaction, you would give him a satisfying answer. It wasn't as if you didn't really feel anything. You recognized the situation was dangerous. Your body knew it was from the strong pounding of your heart. As if it had been there from the start, but you didn't care. He wanted you to fear him, but since he was threatening your life, you didn't truly care about dying. Consequently, you didn't fear him. Give up, defy him. Okay, save again. Save. You look at him directly in the eye. So much drama. For this? Jeff's mouth twisted. You're just a... Oh, crap. I don't know if this is the right answer. You're just a generic killer, stalking your victims, taking them into an alley. If you wanted me to be a better impression, you'd be more original. Suddenly, Jeff extended. His wife quicked up. A strange sight. It was hard to see, but... Jeff punched into her ribs, taking your breath away. He leaned over your ear. You're a fighter, aren't you? Blood rose to your throat, choking you. It seems like he interrupted your defiance as a way to fight for your life. That wasn't really the case, but you regained quickly. Okay, back. You prolonged the inevitable. Okay, let's go back to auto. Menu. Let's go back to this. No. Shall I do this? No. No. Sure you want to do this? Yes. Let's go. Give up. You live. You lower your gaze, but not out of fear. Rather, out of wariness. What would leave behind if you died? Not much. So you don't care anymore. I'm sorry, Jeff, but I don't have fear to give up. Do you? Dot dot dot. Jeff remained silent for a second until he noticed his smile suddenly widen. He slowly leaned towards you. You licked your wounds, your wounded cheek, wiping away the line of blood. His breath brushed against your skin, warm and damp. The touch of his tongue burned on the wound, making you hiss. You could accept him licking you. He was just being weird. But you couldn't shake off what he wanted to tell you with that action. Tease him, plead. Oh crap, let's save again. Okay. We're going to save, and we're going to save with this one. Yes, I want to save with this one. Okay, good. Let's return. Tease him. I'm going to play with him. One thing is not caring about being attacked at night, but it's another thing entirely to be attacked in this way. You didn't even want to think about it. Please, don't hurt me. Maybe if you'd beg for mercy, he'd let you go. Huh. Jeff chuckled, lowering his knife to your abdomen. I knew you'd fear me. Oh shit. Well, it seems that Jeff took it as you trying to please him so he wouldn't hurt you. You weren't entirely wrong, but your intentions were certainly different. Oh, crap. Well, let's try that again. No. Let's go back to load. Let's go to this one. Loading also save modifiers. Yeah, let's go ahead and just do this. I'm okay with that. Tease him. You live. Lick me, how romantic, I'm melting. Maybe if you tease him enough, he'll leave you alone? You had to try. Jeff growled through his gritted teeth, slamming you against the brick wall again. Crap! You let out a groan of pain from the impact. Why don't you fear me? I don't know what you want me to say, Jeff. Jeff lowered his head, seemingly disappointed. He glanced around hesitantly, not knowing what to do. But then he straightened up again, his smile so wide his lip was taint. There's nothing I can do if you don't fear death. I can make you fear me. He raised the knife again, but not to stab you in a visual place. Instead, he slowly brought the tip to your face, leveling with your left eye. And we'll do this. So we'll do this, Taz. So we'll do this, Taz. You swallow hard at the disordered vision of the knife tip millimeters from your pupil. Going to hunt you. Every time I catch you, I'll hurt you. Every time you avoid me, I'll back off a little. I'll back off a little. Jeff's eyes trembled, his almost white, two spotlights in the dark. His eyes almost two spots in the dark. Oh, wait. You lost the first round. Ditched, pushing forward. The blade drug in the corner of your eye, almost glazing your eyeball. You screamed with all your might until you felt your throat tear. Blood flowed through like a small waterfall, and with your sudden body shake, blood splattered. Jeff laughed, satisfied with your reaction, pushed the blade deeper, burying it into the soft flesh of your eyeball. You choke on your saliva on the verge of vomiting from the unbelievable pain. Your hands flailed at Jeff's chest, but you didn't move an inch. Jeff finally shook the knife handle and moving it deeper into your eye. He shook the knife a little more and pulled, yanking out one of your eyeballs still connected to your veins. What's happening? Is anyone there? Like heavenly bells, you managed to hear the voices of other people coming from nearby, but you no longer had the strength to stand. You collapsed on the ground, your left eye socket bleeding from your raw wound. Your vision blurry and damaged. There's no way you trust what you saw. You could only focus on what you heard. Remember our game, Taz. Jeff murmured softly, his voice echoing from behind you. You managed to feel the footsteps of several people heading your way, so you surrendered to exhaustion and pain. Day 2. Oh crap, we made it day 2. You had never felt so much pain before. Sure, you'd stumbled and scraped your knee and you burned your fingers with boiling water and normal things. But this was another level. It wasn't the psychological pain that bothered you most, but it was the kind of pain that made you aware of everything that was happening mattered more than you wanted it to. The kind of pain that wakes you up, forces you to exist, rips you from your comfort of feeling nothing. To top it off, you wanted to sleep. Sleeping had always been your best plan in any situation. But of course, life loves to ruin your plans. Are you awake? The voice was masculinity, soft with the education tone that inspired confidence. You didn't wake up immediately. You felt your body heavy with fatigue. And after a couple of uncomfortable breaths, you managed to force yourself to see. White surrounded you, and it took you moments to realize that you were in a hospital gurney. Rough sheets, the smell of disinfectant, and the fluorescent lights of LED bulbs. The good thing is that if there was any good, was that you were receiving medical care. Hopefully they wouldn't let you die stupidly after everything you went through last night. Finally, you focused on the source of the voice. In front of you was a man in a white coat, young, well-groomed, and with a kind face, too. Do you know where you are? Aw. I'm gonna save real quick. Okay, I'm gonna save real quick. Let's go back. Hospital. I'm gonna say heaven. That's cute. That's sweet. I think I have an angel in front of me. Aww. The doctor chuckled. I see you have a sense of humor. That's a good sign. I would have said something more original, but I just don't have the energy. Much energy. I'll take it. It's not every day people call me an angel while I work. I love that. He jotted down a few things on his paper as he carried. He seemed more amused than worried. Your voice was hoarse and your throat hurt. You swallowed hard, trying to soothe the pain. The doctor gave you a serious look as if telling you to take it easy. Do you remember your name? Tell him whatever he calls you. Whatever he wants to call you, say your name. Let's do this one. The doctor lets out a slight chuckle, shaking his head. Answer seriously. It's Taz. Your voice cuts out hoarse and broken, but is clear enough for him to understand. The doctor nodded, concentrated. Evidently, he was asking those questions to find out how disoriented your head was. Alright, do you know why you're here? You didn't answer immediately. The image appeared on your own, a scarred face, a sunken eye, a distorted smile. And then the laughter, that damn laughter. Of course you knew why you were here, were there. Someone attacked me. The doctor approached and took your hand firmly. He didn't ask if you wanted that gesture, he just did it. This place is safe. It can't hurt you now. You stared at his hand over yours. You didn't know what was worse. the pain, or how strange it felt to have somebody comfort you in such a proper way. Good service, you thought. Maybe they'll bring you free coffee later. Maybe they'll bring you free coffee later. He noticed your silence, quickly pulled his hand back. He cleared his throat, embarrassed. I'm sorry, I should have introduced myself first. I'm your doctor, Paul Salazar. It took you a second to process. Nice to meet you, Dr. Salazar. I'd say I'd like to meet you in another situation, you know. I'd say I would like to have met you in a different situation, you know. He offered a brief smile, unsure whether or not to laugh or apologize again. I'll explain your situation a bit. He straightened up, becoming more serious. You have head injuries. You have head injuries. We need to monitor you for vomiting, dizziness, or loss of consciousness. You also have some minor cuts. You don't have stitches. You don't need stitches, but no stitches or touching them, right? No touching them. You don't need stitches, but no scratching or touching them, understood? The exact moment he said it, the itch attacked you. Ding suggestion. The most important thing now is you suffered and don't strain yourself. Don't talk too much. If you feel dizzy or have trouble breathing, let us know. You nodded in silence, slowly settling into the gurney. The fabric of the gown stretched your skin a little bit. The mattress smelled of disinfectant. Everything smelled of disinfectant. And what about your eye? And about your eye? His tone changed as if you were about to deliver very bad news. I'm sorry, we couldn't save it. Cold, as if somebody had opened up a window in the middle of winter. Instinctively, you raised a trembling hand to the left side of your face. Just bandages, just emptiness. You had to imagine losing something. You had imagined losing things. Objects, people, time. But this was different, losing pieces. You'll be able to live a normal life, he said quickly, as if he wanted to remedy the situation. You'll lose some depth perception, but it won't impact your life later. You can opt for prosthetics if you wish. Now, the important thing is that they will heal well. He noticed your silence, and your lack of reaction made him uncomfortable. He leaned slightly towards you. Are you okay, Taz? You're not okay. You will be okay. I mean, technically, no, I'm not okay because he fucking ripped out my eye. I'm not alright at all. But I'm gonna say, no, I'm not okay. Your voice dropped, as did your gaze. No, I'm not okay. You didn't say it with drama or with tears. You just said it because it was true. For once, you didn't have the energy to pretend. And honestly, that is true. You wouldn't have, because after being attacked and hurt like that, you wouldn't have the energy to pretend. You were okay. Dr. Salazar nodded slowly. You don't have to be. Thank goodness. The silence felt heavy, but not uncomfortable. It was rare for somebody to not try to fill the space with empty phrases. I thought doctors were more methodical. Dr. Salazar smiled faintly, as if he understood more than he was saying. Not all doctors are a cliche. For the first time in a long time, you felt less alone. Just a little, but something was better than nothing. Is there anyone you'd like to call? Any family, a friend, a partner? ... You didn't want to admit your life was solitary, but you couldn't just lie to your doctor. You don't have family, you don't talk to your family lives in another city. Oh, this is weird. Oh, save this. Good. Let's go back and return. I'm going to say my family lives in another city. That's going to make things a bit complicated. Dr. Salazar scratched his head awkwardly. Precisely why you didn't want to say anything in the first place. There must be somebody in the city that you contact with, right? A coworker? Talking about work reminded you of a certain person. What time is it, Doctor? Salazar shook his wrist, and glanced at the clock. It's 4 a.m. Why? There's someone I can call, but it's very early, but it's still very early. Somebody attacked you, they'll understand. You pressed your lips into a line with doubt. You didn't have much closeness with her, but you couldn't think of anyone else. All right, I'll give you her number. You wrote a phone number on a piece of paper and handed it to him. Staff members will be coming by to monitor you. You can ask them whatever you need to. Okay. Dr. Salazar nodded slightly at your affirmation and headed for the room door. But before leaving, he turned to you. When you feel better, you can talk to the police. For now, rest. With that, the doctor left the room, leaving you with your thoughts. You vaguely remember hearing people approach you when you passed out in the alley. They surely scared off Jeff away. Important thing is that you're safe now and you're monitored, and there's no way Jeff can reach you, right? It wasn't strange that you worried about it, since the last thing he told you was that he would hunt you down until he found you. But again, you were in the hospital, so it was supposed to be safe. All that thinking exhausted you again, so you decided to settle into the gurney to rest. A few minutes you wanted to sleep, even if it was just for a few minutes. Uh-oh. As you slept, you could have swore you felt a certain caress on your cheek. It was soft, delicate fingers tracing your right cheekbone, moving down your jaw slightly to lightly brush your lips. Uh-oh. Opening up your eyes slightly, you scanned the room looking for whoever might have touched you while you slept. You only saw Cindy. Taz! You suddenly, to your great surprise, Cindy wrapped her arm around your shoulders, leaning in for a tight hug. You froze. I thought you wouldn't wake up. Oh, thank goodness. She pulled away from you with a decency, treating you with decency that you weren't used to. Is it your just imagination, or is it as if Cindy were playing the role of your best friend? She was by far your best friend. You only known her for a little while. Okay, you were the one who gave Salazar a contact, but only because she was the closest person you had on hand. But what's with all this affection? A ray seemed to strike, making her recoil from the distant expression. I don't know, but it's like you suddenly became important, very important. So you weren't before? Okay, one thing is you thinking about yourself personally, but it would hurt a little to hear somebody else say it. When I found out what happened to you, I came right away. I didn't want you to be alone right now. How are you feeling? Cindy sat in a chair at your right, this time maintaining a more cordial distance. Understandable, you only worked in the same store. A little pain, but overall I think I'm fine. Cindy lowered her gaze with concern and then raised it to you. She sighed heavily, bringing her fingers to your forehead. I told you to be careful. That comment was unnecessary. Was she trying to blame you? As if what happened to you was your fault and not the bastard who ripped out your eye. I remind you I was attacked. It's not my fault. I didn't mean that. Now you're supposed to be a caring coworker? What a bad joke. Taz! It wasn't the volume of her voice, nor the fact that she called you by your name. It was her heartbreaking tone that made you stop. I don't understand myself either. I didn't think you mattered so much to me. Hey,